Welcome, everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte. What's up, everybody? Jason back here to do a quick breakdown of the cuts that we have right now because it's not exactly official just yet. The deadline to have all the cuts in was 1 p.m. Pacific time. It is now 1:15. So I'm sure that we'll see something official right away, but I'm just going to go with what we know for right now. And let's start with the big news that happened this morning. Jonas Griffith was traded to the Denver Broncos for basically what was the compensation for Gardner Minshew. I found that to be shrewd because Jonas Griffith had a tough time getting on his roster because of basically the number crunches, but he was so good. And that was my thing when we were talking about, hey, what's going to happen with certain guys. And I wanted Griffith on this roster, but unfortunately there's just not enough room. And for John Lynch to turn around and turn this into draft compensation for an undrafted free agent is genius. It's very much genius. Oh, okay. So Hasty made the roster. That's good too. For anybody in the comments, let me know. I don't think that I saw that Gallman came across cut or anything like that. So, if you guys, if it starts pouring in, let me know in the comments. I'll flash it on the screen and I'll talk about it as best I can at this point. But the Jonas Griffith move was genius. You have to remember with all those first round picks that the 49ers have given away for Trey Lance, now it's going to be more about how you restock these draft picks. Gallman was just released. Okay. All right. Well, I thought that Gallman had a chance to be on the roster based on his pass pro because I know how much Kyle Shanahan loves that. That's why Tevin Coleman stayed on this roster for so long besides being one of Shaney's guys. So that's a surprise. So Gallman's gone. That's interesting. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, the Jonas Griffith move, amazing. Stockpiling draft picks, especially when you've lost so many because you traded them away for Trey Lance. So good to get those in the later rounds because it seems like the 49ers are better at that. So yeah, Gallman's going to get picked up somewhere else. I agree with you, bro. The guy's solid. I love the move when they brought him in. He's definitely going to get picked up somewhere else. Someone will definitely need that, especially think about the Ravens right now. J.K. Dobbins went down. I know they got Gus over there, and I know that they have Justice Hill, and I believe his name is Tyson Williams or Johnson or something like that. But I could see Gallman going all over there, especially for a team that's as run heavy as the Ravens are. So some other cuts. Senio Clemente was gone. Jake Brendel, that's a surprise because Jake Brendel actually played pretty well. So this is kind of begs the question, who's going to be the backup center behind Alex Mack? So Daniel Brunskill was that, but now he's going to be starting right guard. So it's going to be interesting to figure out how many of these guys clear waivers end up back on the actual roster or on IR or the practice squad. So that's why, you don't want to jump out the window and say anything crazy because you have no idea. Some of these guys will be back on like a handshake deal. Hey, we'll release you now, but we'll bring you back once we put people on IR like Mo Hurst, like a few other guys. So we'll see. It's not all the way done right now at this point. And yes, Clinton Dix was released today. I did have Tavon Wilson making the roster over him because Tavon Wilson, when Jaquiski Tart was out, was running with the ones. The team was very impressed with him. So I kind of saw that one coming, especially when you think about how late was brought in. It didn't make sense for him to actually be one of those guys that sticks around. So Michael Pruitt, that's a little bit of a shocker for me just because I kind of thought that they were going to use, Levine Toilolo, Charlie Warner. These were guys that were on the roster for blocking, and I thought that maybe Michael Pruitt could sneak his way onto the roster, but unfortunately he didn't make it as well. Josh Hokett it's not a shock, but he played really well in the time that he was on the field and especially during camp as well too. So they're really just going to run with Kyle Juszczyk, and I think it's more because Ross Dwelley can play fullback. So if Ross Dwelley can fill in, you already have a spot for him. Probably seems like a good bet to do that and get rid of Hokett. I mentioned Clinton Dix. Unfortunately, didn't make the roster. Might be a candidate for practice squad. Travis Benjamin and Nasimba Webster. So that one is actually really good to talk about because now who is going to return kicks? Do they believe that Ayuk is going to do this full time? Did Elijah Mitchell show a little bit too much? I do think that they actually are going to try to sneak Simba on the practice squad. That's good to put this up right here. I think that that's really good to put Simba on here. River Craycraft did get knocked again, even though he's brought back. So in, out, is just how this is working right now. And Jordan Matthews, who I thought had a pretty good chance because, again, Shanahan likes his guys. He always find a way to push them in there. So we'll see. I think the kicking things are really going to be interesting because Webster was actually really good. The whole argument about Ayuk, you don't really want to put him in harm's way. I know Embry Thomas has done it, but I haven't seen it. He's done it in college. He hasn't done it at this level. So it's interesting to me to see where this goes because he hasn't done it at this level. And I have a hard time believing that Shanahan hasn't seen him do it in any sort of preseason game, really. He did it maybe 1 or 2 times, maybe. But I don't think that that's enough for him to say, yeah, you're just a guy, like, go for it. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think they're going to try to sneak Webster on there, but let's see. I know Embry can do it. We haven't seen him do it at this level, and that was a while ago as well, too. So, all right. Jalen Hurd made it. When I was doing my projections, it was based on what I would do and not what I thought Shanahan would do. Never really thought that there was a chance that Hurd wasn't going to make this roster, especially after you heard what John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan said about him. He's one of the top 6 wide receivers on this roster. So there he is. He's on there. Juwan Jennings made it. I really like that idea as well. Juwan Jennings has far outperformed Jalen Hurd in a few weeks of camp and his 2 games on the field because, as we know, Jalen Hurd has 2 preseason games under his belt and like 2 catches on 11 on 11. So I like the Juwan Jennings thing. So it looks like it's going to be Sherfield, Sanu, Debo, Ayuk, Jennings, and Hurd. Those are your 6 right there. So it looks like Elijah Mitchell made it unless somebody else can tell me that he didn't. So that means it's going to be Hasty, Mitchell, Mostert, Sermon, and that's it, right? So they're carrying 4 and then 5 if you count Juice. So kind of interesting what they did there with Gallman. Gallman's going to get picked up very fast, I think, as well, too. So those were the 6 I wanted. So Charlie Warner, George Kittle, Ross Dwelly are your tight ends as well. Linebackers, it looks like Marcel Harris made it, and it came at the expense of Jonas Griffith. So Marcel Harris going to be there with the linebackers. And yes, Trent Sherfield definitely made it. Definitely didn't really think that there was any doubt that he would make it just because of how good he was the entire time during camp as well. So, yeah, I mean, right now, we don't have the full list. We're basically going off of what's coming out little by little. So we're going to try to analyze that. But, again, some of these guys are going to be brought back on the practice squad. Some of these guys are going to be brought back on IR and things like that. There's going to be moves to be made. So seems like the 49ers kept 3 quarterbacks as well, unless somebody could tell me something different. I think it's Sudfeld, Lance, and Jimmy. So I don't know. Did they put Sudfeld? Can anybody let me know? Did they put Sudfeld on the practice squad? But as of right now, I haven't seen anything that says that Sudfeld's not on the roster at all. So, and look, I think with the quarterback thing, it's less about, hey, why are they keeping 3 quarterbacks and more about the situation around it. It's during COVID. If one person in that room gets COVID and they don't have someone on the practice squad, then you're in a situation like the Broncos were similar last year where they had to play that wide receiver his name is escaping me right now. So who knows what's going to happen with that. It seems like Nate Sudfeld made the roster as well, too. So the interesting thing is the safety looks now. So Tavon Wilson, Tart, Ward, Hufanga. And then Marcel Harris is kind of that hybrid. So it's sort of linebacker, sort of safety. So we'll see about that. Sudfeld for 2 first-rounders. Yep, Mitchell and Hasty on the 53. So that's good. I mean, it was going to be a tough time. It was going to be tough to get rid of Elijah Mitchell after there was draft capital put on him. And Hasty did enough those last 2 games, apparently, to overcome the fumbling issues, overcome the drops that he was having in camp. He led the NFC during the preseason in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. Not that means anything, but I think it was indicative of how good he did those last 2 games as well, too. So happy that he made it, because if he was put on the practice squad, he would have definitely got picked up, because he was a hot commodity when the 49ers were trying to sneak him onto the practice squad. So I think that one was going to be good. So we should have kept Clinton Dix instead of Tavon Wilson. I don't know about that one, Sage. I just think that Tavon Wilson showed more when he ran with the ones. To have him automatically come out and be the guy across from Jimmy Ward, that kind of told you what the team was thinking about him. And when HaHa was brought in, it was during that time when nobody knew what was going to be happening with Tart. You also need bodies who can run drills. So you bring guys in for camp bodies. Clinton Dix had some plays that were, he got burnt a little. He made an interception. Jared Mayden the same thing. But I'm just waiting for basically right now this entire list. I'm just going off of what we're seeing right now that's coming out. And if anything comes out, then you guys can just throw it right there in the comments, and I will get to it. So, yeah. And then we'll talk about the defensive line. The defensive line had so much depth that it was so smart for John Lynch to go ahead and try to shop some of these guys, even if he doesn't get it done. It's good to see what was out there, but apparently the phone was ringing and they were saying no. So it's good. I'm happy Zack Kerr made it, I think. I mean, we'll see until we find out. I'm happy that Arden Key made it. I'm happy that, Jordan Willis has got six games off, but this line is deep, really deep. Mitch and Robbie cut. Yeah, right. But I don't know if we held the whole entire D-line. So I don't want to speculate on that right now because, like I said, the deadline was 1 o'clock Pacific time. It's almost 1:30. And Kyle Shanahan is not going to just push that in right away. So we'll see. Trent Taylor cutting Cincy. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. See? No, don't even think about it. No way. No way. Yeah, so Darian Daniels was cut. Is that true, Zach? Can anybody else confirm that in the comments? Stinks because he was actually playing really well too. That's the thing is when you get under this number crunch, it's less about, hey, this guy wasn't good, and more, hey, we just got to get this. We just got to get this down to 53, unfortunately. So, yes, Juwan Jennings, it seems like made the team, and I think that when you found out that Simba Webster was cut, that kind of opened it up with that as well, too. Dante Pettis did make the Giants roster as well, too. That's a 49ers legend. So, but yes, as we go through, I'm sure there's going to be more and more things that come out in terms of who's cut, what's their injury designation, what's going to be happening going forward. So seems like the linebacker group is going to be Warner, Al-Shaair, Greenlaw, Marcel Harris, and who am I missing? I'm missing somebody. I know you guys are probably going to tell me in the comments, unless they just kept those guys and they didn't add anybody else, because I know Griffith was traded, unfortunately. Yes, Daniel was cut. Thank you, Andrew. And DFF. Good. I'm glad that DFF made it. Yes, I'm happy. Fowles made it. Flanagan Fowles. So do you think Ayuk is going to return punts? It's a good question, Tony. I don't know who's going to return punts. That's what had me thinking that Webster was going to make this roster because he is that return specialist. But with Ayuk, I mean, there's not really it's not – all right, I understand both sides of the argument. Hey, you don't want to put him in harm's way and things like that. Antonio Brown did it. There was plenty of other players who have done it. They just didn't do it for extended periods. If it's going to be something for a season, maybe half a season, then I'm okay with it. But I'm not all the way on board with putting Ayuk in harm's way like that, just in case. So let's see. Love that we turned Jonas Griffith into late round picks. Yes, absolutely. Ask past wide receivers, North Dakota State, how they prepare for fastballs. I don't really think it has to do with that. I just think that the guys are having concentration issues right now. The Jalen Hurd drop, the one that hit him in the face mask, he drifts too far on the route, allowing the defender to undercut him and get in his way. The ball was put where it was supposed to. I mean, it literally hit him in the face mask. So I put that in concentration. Juwan Jennings, same thing. I put that to just straight up concentration. That's it at this point. I don't think it's necessarily anything that Trey Lance is doing. I mean, Peyton Manning's a Hall of Famer, and all he did was throw wobblers his entire career. So, again, if you're in the NFL, put your hands on that and get it down. So, where was ATL Josh Rosen quarterback at with the Niners? I can't believe he made that roster, man. That was crazy. Unbelievable. So, good for him. Good for him, honestly, at this point. Will Webster, let's see, Zach. Will Webster clear waivers and be on the practice squad? I think he will. I do think he will. And it's nice to have that in the fold, because if you do see something that you don't really like and you don't want to put Ayuk out there, I know that he's dealing with something right now. He should be fine for week 1. Then it's good to always just go back to that, because you don't have Richie James to fall back on anymore on this roster. So receivers got to stop leaving their feet when trying to make a catch. That's another thing that Hurd did on that one. So Jason, have you watched any tape on Christian Watson? Trey Lance's 2 wide receivers should get some looks from scouts this year. I haven't, but thank you, Jamal. I will take a look at that. I definitely will. They keep in Sudfeld. I hope not. Talented person will lose a spot. Yeah, I agree with you. But again, during COVID, if one person in that room is a close contact, then the whole room's wiped out. So I kind of understand it. Maybe he just falls on the practice squad. Again, it's hard to say until we get this final list out right now. So Do you think Richie James will come back for practice squad? Maybe. I mean, but he has, I think it's like a 6-week recovery line. So a lot can happen in 6 weeks. Guys can get, injured, knock on wood. Things can happen. Guys can play themselves off the roster, those sort of things. So let's see. I love loading up as safety so that Ward can play nickel in a pinch. That's a great point, Jesse. I absolutely agree with that as well. I love this safety group, even with Tavon Wilson and Hufanga. I think that they're actually really loaded at that position. And that's something that, again, with Harris being a linebacker, he could fall back into that spot because he's familiar. So let's just see. What player you excited to see get a new number? There is somebody who's getting a new number. I just can't spill the beans on it yet, but I can't wait for you guys to see who it's going to be. And it's going to be a single-digit number. It's going to look really dope, I think, as well, too. K1 was a lock, right? I didn't hear much about him. Yep, absolute lock. Your nickel corner, they signed him for a 1-year deal. So, yeah, they brought him back so they could have that solid guy that they, K1's awesome, and we know that. So that's good. Let me throw a wild one out here. But what about Hasty returning kicks? Has 16 returns at Baylor? Maybe. I mean, that's the thing, right? I just can't know. I don't know, and I can't speculate. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's going to be one guy or the other because the guy that I thought it was going to be is not on this roster at this point. So it's going to be interesting to figure this out, and we'll figure it out during the week when Kyle's asked to speak and things like that. So Elijah Mitchell made it. That's great. Elijah Mitchell is a candidate to do that as well. He's done it in college. He's shown that. So Mitchell, Ayuk, Thomas, Hasty, all 4 of those guys can return kicks. So I would imagine it's going to be one of those guys as well, too. Any word on Tart's toe? He came up skipping in the Mandalay Bears game and haven't heard. So he banged his knee against somebody else's and just walked it off. So it wasn't the toe at all. Everything is good. He's ready to go for week 1 from everything that I know. So Mitchell will be on the team as a returner. That's what I'm thinking too, Zach, at this point. Please tell me it's not Sermon with the new number. I already brought a 28. It's not Sermon. I promise you it's not Sermon. That one for sure, I know. Thomas can also return. Yep, and he isn't helping the secondary, unfortunately. I mean, yeah, they've got to stick with him, though, because of the draft capital. But, yes, I mean, he's got to contribute some way because it'll get really heavy if he's pushed into some game situations. So, Jason, do you think Hufanga could be the starting free safety at some point in the season? I don't think so. And then I kind of want to dispel the narrative with the free safety and strong safety thing. I don't really think that there's anything locked into either of those things. Those guys kind of interchange and they move around all over. So I don't know if there's specifically positions for them. I see more of Hufanga as you've seen, they've left him in single high and they trust him that much. But he could be a will linebacker, take snaps there. So it's going to be interesting. The way that they move this defense around, especially in the secondary, is going to be it's just going to be basically positionless at this point. So I really wouldn't worry about labels as far as free safety, anything like that. In the beginning of the game against the Raiders, they came out in a 3 safety look. So it's going to be basically, I think it's going to be matchup dependent on who they're facing and what they think they can get away with as well, too. So is it Debo? Nope, not Debo. No. Tabor Pepper has made the 53. Oh, thank God. Whew. Goodness gracious. Did Jared Mayden make the team? That's a good question. I haven't seen his name or anything like that. You guys let me know. I haven't seen his name thrown out there. So maybe that's the safety that I'm missing. I haven't really gone through everything because I don't think the list is out. I can check one more time just to maybe see because it should be coming up through the 49ers app itself. Let me check that out. Let me see what we got here. See if there's anything here. Nope, nothing yet. So they still haven't really done that. So did Jalen Hurd make the roster? Sure did. As soon as they got rid of Simba Webster and Travis Benjamin, kind of was in there, even though, we heard Kyle and John say that, yeah, for sure, he's going to make the roster as well, too. Kinlaw single digit now. That's a big man. I don't know if he can hold a single digit. Well, that thing is going to, shred apart on his jersey if it's just one. So Jared Mayden got waived, I think. Okay, all right. Well, that makes sense at this point. That definitely makes sense. Can we praise Sanu for a minute for the work he put in? Yeah, I want to say this about him. I kind of didn't really think much of the signing, and then he comes out like gangbusters at the beginning of camp. You heard Jimmy curse when he was talking about how good he looked. Kind of lost steam in camp, though, as well. I think that Trent Sherfield ran right past him. So, Sanu's going to be on this roster because Shanny trusts him, and in a pinch he can be used. But I don't think it's as clear-cut as it was before when everybody was saying, hey, Sanu's the man, Sanu's the guy. So, let's see. Jason, it's Tart who is changing the 3, isn't it? Ward 1, Verrett 2, Tart 3, Mosley 4. You didn't hear that. You didn't hear that from me. You said that. I didn't say that. Where'd you get that hat? Reminds me of old school Major League hats. They wore it in 2019, I think, during Thanksgiving. There's one with like a Thanksgiving patch on the other side, but yeah, they wore it a lot last year as well too. So it's Jimmy. His new number is quarterback 1. Yeah, probably, definitely. Hurd make roster. Yep, Hurd's on the roster, so that's fine. Debo and Ayuk is going to be pissed knowing Sanu got cut. Did he? Can anybody else? Did anybody else say that? I didn't see that. I would have a hard time thinking that he's cut because I think that after those 3 receivers, after Sherfield, it gets really hairy. Like I think that Sanu would be the guy that's actually going to stay there. So, so who's going to be returning punts and kickoffs? Good question, Urban. Ayuk, Thomas, Hasty. Who's the other one that we were just talking about? Goodness gracious. Ayuk, Thomas, Hasty, or damn it, I forget. No, Benjamin did not make it. Interrupts. Benjamin got waived as well too. Sanu made it. Okay, yeah, I knew Sanu made it. Yeah, I thought so. All right. Yeah. Any other questions that you guys have? I mean, I don't want to stick around too long. Mitchell, that's the other person that can return kicks. I don't want to stick around too long while we're trying to wait for all this stuff to come out. We need Jake Brendel back somehow, some way, Jason. I think he comes back to the practice squad. He's going to clear waivers, but they definitely need him on there because they do need that backup center because Brunskill's the right guard. I agree with you there. And he played too well. I was very surprised that they just waived him. But again, if they waive him and they bring him back and it's just with a move with IR then or the practice squad, then it makes sense. So I'm not going to judge it until we find out what's happening because I believe it's till Monday, I think, that they have to make moves like that as well too. Do you think Mitchell plays a big role on special teams this year? He didn't play in college, but he looked good in preseason reps. I mean, he has to at this point because I don't really see his weights and touches with as many guys that are here in his backfield. So it's got to be something like that. He can't just be here for depth. So we'll see. Gallman's wave. Can anybody else find anything on Sanu? Let me see. CBS Sports is saying Sanu is cut. That's shocking. That would be shocking because then who are the other receivers? I mean, Craycraft's gone. Benjamin's gone. Webster's gone. Richie's gone. I mean, they've got to go with 6, and they can't really just sit there and act like Hurd is just going to be the guy for number 4, backup role, something like that. Lions have no kicker. Hey, maybe Dan Campbell was actually smart. Maybe I should get up off his back. Maybe he's a genius, low key. So, no Tom Compton. I hope not. Tom Compton is going to be on this roster, no matter what. No matter what. No questions asked. Absolutely. Nothing on Sanu. Sanu's still on the team. Then the story just disappeared. Looks like a misreport. Okay, that'll happen. Appreciate you, Irvin. Appreciate for the kind words, everything like that. Any other questions that you guys have? Travis Fulham got cut. That is really interesting. But again, got to figure out where he plays right now because they're getting rid of people and trying to fill out this roster, and it's going to be tough to get him on there. So I'm not seeing anything on Sanu. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate you, bro. Who had the Wayne Gallman news? That's a good one. I mean, I didn't see that, so. What's the name of the guy going from wide receiver to tight end? He made the team. Jordan Matthews was waived, unfortunately, Joe. So he won't be making the team as much as Shanahan likes him. But I'm sure he'll be close to a phone, and in a pinch, he'll be asked to be brought back if there is anything. So any cuts from other teams that the 49ers should look into? Absolutely. Jimmy Moreland from Washington. That was a shocker. He was so good last year. So that's good for secondary depth. I really like Jimmy Moreland, and I think the 49ers should take a look at him. But if he's through the waivers process, someone's going to claim him before then. I think the Jets have the number 1 waiver claim for some reason. Don't ask me how, but I think I read that too as well. Shaquem Griffin got cut. That's interesting. Legend Cassius Marsh was cut. Don't do that, Zach. Don't do that. I think Zach Kerr made it unless somebody could tell me that he didn't. Unfortunately, so I think he made it. I hope he made it. He's been balling. Dante Johnson's like the Highlander. It's the head or nothing. Dante Johnson's not going anywhere. When he didn't dress for that preseason game, that was your tip-off that he was going to be on this roster. He's not going anywhere. I agree, man. Zach Kerr better have made it. I agree. Any must-follows for 49ers Twitter? You guys put them in the comments. You guys know who I'm going to say. All the guys from Goldmine, Javi, Leo, Jordan, Brad Graham, Akash, KP, plenty of people. Grant, any of those guys are must follows on there. And if you guys have any more, just please put them in the comments so Jim can take a look at it. No word on Kerr yet. I heard Kerr made it on David Lombardi's stream. Cool. There we go. I give Dante Johnson a nickname that's slated to gain a little steam. Dante 9 Lives Johnson. You think he makes the team? He's on the team, Jamal. He ain't going anywhere. And that was evident, like I said, right after the preseason game when he didn't suit up. He didn't suit up because they were protecting him. So Eagles named Hurts quarterback 1. So week 2. Nick Mullins got a deal with the Browns. He's sticking around. So we'll see. Griffith got traded. We got that. Who would you rather have, Johnson or Moreland? Moreland's younger. But unfortunately, like I said, there's going to be too many teams in his way in terms of waivers. So also follow honorary 49ers member Twitter, Jared Bailey. Yeah, if you want to get angry, follow Jared. He's going to really make you upset as a 49er fan, but he is a definite honorary member of 49ers Twitter at this point. New number for Elijah Mitchell. Yeah, he's at 49. Him and Clinton Dix were in 49, so I think he may stick with 49 since Clinton Dix isn't on the roster, but let's see. Waivers in baseball is reverse of finish order. The last place team chooses first. Yes, but from what I read today, the Jets have the first pick, the first waiver order, and I think that has to do with some of the other waiver claims and the way it's just reordered, but I could be wrong. So, any other questions, anything like that? Because I'll keep it short to a half hour, and then we'll do an in-depth episode of Sprint Right Option this week once we get an entire list of the cuts once they become official, because Kyle and John are just not handing it in right on time. Let's just hope they don't get fined for it, something like that. So if you guys don't have any more questions, any chance we sign Fred Warner's brother? He just got cut. That would be cool, but he'd have to go straight to the practice squad. So, we'd see. We'll see. I have to admit that I really haven't watched him enough to really know his skill set or anything like that. I know that, Fred's pops has raised 2 really, really awesome kids, BYU, all those things. But, in terms of football, I can't really speculate on his fit, but maybe for the practice squad. Do you feel Jordan Willis is a key piece down the stretch after suspension? Yes, he looks incredible. Those 6 games, he's going to be out, but he's going to have fresh legs for the rest of the season. There'll probably be some more injuries there. He'll be a welcome addition so he come back. So who would you have rather had, Sanu or Benjamin? I would have said Sanu. He's just more reliable as a receiver, and Benjamin doesn't give enough of an advantage in the return game to keep him over that. So John Brown requested and was granted his release from the Raiders. I wish. Oh, man, I wish. Anybody who follows me on Twitter knows that John Brown is my guy. I would love to see him on this roster. I would literally cut one of these wide receivers for him, even if he is 31 and he's been injured. I don't really care, and I don't feel sorry about it either. All right. What are the 49ers on the waiver order? Good question. Don't know. Really can't say at this point. Should sign Will Compton so he can get George Skittles on Bison with the boys more. I'm high. Nah, not yet. And the 2 guys that I'm thinking about cutting aren't even that good. And I could tell you one of them. I cut Jalen Hurd right now for John Brown. I already know one guy actually can play and actually can run routes and get open. I'd rather have John Brown than Jalen Hurd. 10 out of 10 times, twice on Sunday. That's not even close. Not even close. All right. With the read option, should we utilize Juice more as a tight end? Yes, please. I mean, all he did in training camp was cook people. Your favorite linebacker. He's amazing running routes. I would love to see that. So, yep, easily cut Hurd for Brown in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. No question asked. John Brown is miles better than Jalen Hurd. I can't even believe that would be a discussion. Unbelievable. Who is now our best pass blocker, running back without Gallman? Most of the sermon at this point. So, we'll see. Is there any names you heard cut that we should be taking a look at? Yep, I mentioned Jimmy Moreland, mentioned John Brown now that we know. But I'm sure there's going to be more once they start to come out. Brown is washed, fam. Nah, he's not. That's actually a lie. He's actually really good still, even at 31. And he's much better than Jalen Hurd. If he's washed, then what's Jalen Hurd? 12th, a waiver order, okay. But that means Jimmy Moreland's not going to fall to 12. Yeah. So I don't know about that one. I seen major improvement in the O-line in the last preseason game from the backups. Yeah, I did too. A lot of that has to do with, with Trey being with backups and being forced to stay in the pocket. Sometimes that doesn't look as good as it normally would. I bet that, the offensive line will still have problems, but, if Lance was allowed to freelance a little bit more, didn't mean to put it that way, probably would be better. So How do you feel with our safety room? I love it. I think that there's a lot of depth there, and there's a lot of versatility in the way that we could play. So what was he doing with the Raiders practice squad against us? Have you ever thought that maybe John Gruden has no idea what he's doing with a football team? All they did was trade every single good offensive lineman, sign Kenyon Drake. So just because one team is burying somebody on the depth chart doesn't mean they're washed. John Gruden's an idiot, and the Raiders suck. Did you ever think about that? Okay. Brown has 1 year left, maybe. Hurd could have 6 or 7. Hurd could have 6 or 7. Whew. I wish I could get 6 or 7 minutes of Jalen Hurd, let alone 6 or 7 years. Christ, that's tough. 6 or 7 years for Jalen Hurd. I'm not a rich man, but I put what little money I have in my account that Jalen Hurd is not in the league 6 to 7 years down the line. Not going to happen. So I'd rather take what I know. Fair enough, my guy. And of course, I'm just, messing around, man. But yeah, the Raiders are morons. It doesn't make sense to do that as well, too. John Spider, 2 wide banana. I mean, they didn't even play any of their starters in any of the games. So how are they in any way warmed up? That guy has no idea what he's doing. The Raiders are a joke, man. It's ridiculous. So Hurd could have 6 or 7 days. I'm not trying to go in on Hurd or anything like that. It's just, I really like John Brown. That's it. So I just like John Brown a lot. That's all. So I'm biased in this one. I'm definitely unbiased. Chase McLaughlin made the Browns. I'll do you one better. Tristan Vizcaino, 49ers legend, beat out the Money Badger in a kicker competition with the Chargers. Can you start to realize why I tell you that kickers don't matter and you shouldn't be paying them anything more than $5? Chase McLaughlin, fine, he missed that kick against Seattle. Tristan Vizcaino was money, and from deep. But you want to pay an old kicker who wanted to go back to Chicago and hold out as if he's some sort of impact player? Get out of here, man. Done with this. Vizcaino hype. You know the vibes. You'll be on the Hurd bus when he balls. Man. When he balls, so he's going to ball. Listen, watching him in camp, the man's struggling to separate. Now he's got the drops. He doesn't even know where to line up. If you notice in that one play, they're pushing him over to the side. I understand why they kept him on his roster. I'm not expecting a thing from Jalen Hurd. And if he does, I'll be happy to be wrong, but I'm probably not going to be wrong when it comes to that. Tell me why destroying a kicker in the league still. Kickers don't matter, man. They just don't. Jet Wildcat McKinnon RB1 for, oh, man. No, is he hurt? So he can't. I'm telling you what I've seen. 3 years, 2 preseason games, 2 catches and 11 on 11. That's what's on the back of Jalen Hurd's football card. You telling me based off that you think that he's going to contribute? He's a 6th wide receiver right now behind Mohamed Sanu. We'll see. They tried their damnedest to get him the ball. He got open because Shanahan's a great play designer, and he was dropping the ball, didn't know where he was lining up. We'll see. We will see, but I doubt it. I'm not picking him to do anything. If he does, great. If not, then that's a whiff, which I think it is anyway. Should have drafted Terry McLaurin. Come on. What are we talking about here? Yes, Hurd has a long way to go before I get hyped up. See, but they're playing, Kyle. The rookies are playing. They didn't get hurt against Air and have to take the whole year off and then get hurt again against Air to take the year off. The rookies are playing. At least they're playing. They're already doing better than Jalen Hurd by being on the field. Listen, I don't want to pile on Jalen Hurd, but this idea that all of a sudden we need to force him into the game plan, no. He's on the roster. We'll see. I'm not expecting a thing. Come on. Goodness gracious. Enough with the Jalen Hurd stuff. It's Hurd's 3rd year. He's never played 1 NFL snap in an actual game. Goodness gracious. They just can't let Hurd go. I think they're afraid of what he could do for another team. Listen, if he finds the magic Michael Jordan juice from Space Jam and all of a sudden can separate and show burst, fine. Let another team try that out. But as of right now, a 3rd-round pick is a whiff. It's a whiff. Should have drafted Terry McLaurin. That's it, man. Sorry. Do you think the Niners should take a look at cornerback? I would have said that earlier, and I was yelling that all offseason. But Lenore's been very good. Jason Verrett is still Jason Verrett. And then Emmanuel Mosley on the other side is solid. After that's when it gets a little scary. Dante Johnson will be the next person up instead of Ambry Thomas. That should tell you where Ambry Thomas is as far as his development. But yeah, maybe they should. And there might be somebody who comes free. Thank you for the donation, Dakota Mule. Appreciate you, man. How about our Yankees? What, they lost 3 in a row? Ooh, let's not talk about this. We didn't, dude, so we should have drafted every good player, right? No, but hindsight's 2020. Jalen Hurd has not played 1 snap, and you're out here talking about him trying to be Terrell Owens or whatever it is you think he is. He's a guy on the team right now. That's all Jalen Hurd is. Don't expect much. Expectations is the root of disappointment. Don't set yourself up to be disappointed. That's it. Should have drafted Mahomes? Yep, that too. Should have drafted Mahomes instead of Solomon Thomas. Should have drafted Deshaun Watson instead of Solomon Thomas. I mean, I don't know what it is, Kyle. I mean, if you love Jalen Hurd, go ahead, man. Don't let me rain on your parade. I'm just trying to give you, what I think, my opinion, and what I know, because I watched him at camp. When the man caught 1 pass and we sent out a tweet, Jalen Hurd caught a pass on 11 on 11, it was almost as exciting as when the 49ers won the NFC Championship. That's how excited Twitter was, because that's how little he's done. That's what I'm talking about. Should we go for John Brown? Yes. Absolutely. You're never not going to be mad about Scary Terry. You're damn right I'm not. Kyle Shanahan was at the Senior Bowl and saw Terry McLaurin and still didn't pull the trigger. Like, for him to be there picks after Jalen Hurd. Furious, man. Jamal, thank you for the donation, bro. Love what I see from Lenore. He's a dog, but the true test starts now that the season's here, holding high praise until he shows something in the regular season. For sure. Absolutely. I agree. But he's doing much better than I expected, especially for somebody who was profiling as a nickel corner at this point, or in the beginning. He's been on the outside balling. So, yeah. McLaurin's damn near the most underrated wide receiver in the league. Yeah. I mean, I think that really what got wrapped up, sometimes I love Kyle Shanahan. He just gets tunnel vision on what he thinks he can do with guys. And I understand what he was trying to do with Jalen Hurd. I've said it many times. He wants to deploy him in the same way that, Pittsburgh uses Chase Claypool, not the results. I'm saying that they use him on jet sweeps. They can line him up at tight end, line him up outside. But unfortunately, if he can't stay on the field and show burst and win on routes, then it doesn't really matter at this point. But yeah, McLaurin is slept on. And think about who McLaurin's had throwing him the ball. He's got back-to-back 2 1,000-yard seasons. Yeah, that one hurts. I don't think they have to trade Jalen Hurd for Brown because Brown's a free agent. I think he just got released if I read that right. So, yeah. And this is it right here, Andrew. Nail on the head. The idea of Jalen Hurd is amazing. Execution, not so much. Who do you think will lead the team in receiving yards? Okay, I have a little spicy take about this one, too. I think it's Deebo Samuel. Because, listen, I know George Kittle, I know Brandon Ayuk, but it's just I look at the way that they manufacture the touches for him behind the line of scrimmage and the yards after the catch. And if he's there for 17 games, I have a tough time seeing Deebo not be the guy. He just has to play all the games. That's my asterisk for it. Got to play all the games. If he does, I think he has a very good chance to lead this team in receiving. My back? All right, yeah. Just let it go, Kyle. It's all right, man. You want Jalen Hurd to work? I'm happy for you, bro. Probably not going to work, though. That's it. Yep, Trent Taylor cut Cincinnati. Don't know. Don't bring him back. Don't even think about it. Hasty did make it. Yes, Hasty did make it. That's good. He played very well at the end of the year. So there we go. Let's see. By the way, what's with this Tasty Hasty nickname? Grown man can be. Hey, I haven't called it that. I'm not calling it that. I never said that. Kyle, it is Hurd. He doesn't play. He's hurt all the time. And this isn't something that just happened in the NFL. He's been hurt in high school. He's been hurt in college. He's hurt in the pros. It's year 3. He hasn't played a game. What makes you think that now all of a sudden he's going to grow into this butterfly? I don't get it. How many guys just break out in year 3 without ever playing? First of all, he has no shot to overtake Trent Sherfield, who has been smoking his boots all camp for a guy who just came in out of nowhere. He's a 3rd-round pick getting smoked by a guy who's a special teams gunner. He's even behind Mohamed Sanu. So until one of those guys falters, I don't see his path on the field. I don't. I'm sorry. He's been hurt his entire life. Forget the NFL career. Hurt his entire life. That's not a narrative. It's the reality. The narrative is something completely different that's made up. The man's hurt all the time. That's reality. My narrative, Tart's played. I don't know why I'm arguing with you, bro. Tart's actually played games. This man is not taking a snap. Why are we talking about Jalen Hurts so much? I don't get it, man. Goodness gracious, bro. All right. Tart plays, Kyle. He's played games. He's the longest tenured 49er. The longest tenured 49er. Wrap your head around that one. I don't get it. I don't get it, bro. It's not the same thing at all. It is not. One guy never plays. Right now, Jalen Hurts logging for catches is the same as A.J. Jenkins. 0. Don't know what else needs to be said. Hey, if it works out again, I'd love to be wrong. He's not better than Sherfield. He is not better than Trent Sherfield. And that's a 3rd-round pick for you. Why is he on the vet minimum? Because oh my goodness, I'm done. Let's just move on, bro. Percentage-wise, do you think we try and sign and trade for a receiver in the season? I'm thinking of injury history and Jennings' inexperience with this question in mind. Maybe. I mean, it's hard to say because I'm not predicting injury for anybody like that. That's not the way to do it. But, it's all about who's going to be available, so that's the other thing. So as well. But yeah. Florio still thinks Jimmy G is cut. Don't listen to him, man. Don't listen to him. Please don't listen to him. Gutierrez doesn't actually count towards the roster limit because he's I forget what the exemption's called. Something about a international player where he doesn't make the roster and he doesn't count against it, but he's still under the All right, yeah. So Ward and Tart. Well, wait a minute. Tart and Ward were drafted the same year, I think, if I'm not mistaken. By let's see, what's his name? Balky. I think those are both Balky picks, actually. So I could be wrong, but I think it might be Ward, yeah. So the Tart thing touches home. Why? It's the truth. He plays. He's played in games. Jalen Hurts has not played in a game yet. How is that the same thing? It is not the same thing. And when Tart plays, he actually is an impact player. Injuries be damned. He's still an impact player. I don't get it, Kyle. What are we doing here? Why are we still talking about Jalen Hurts? He hasn't done anything. He's not going to do anything probably. Ward was drafted a year before Tart. There we go. Okay, so Ward and then Tart. But Tart's played games. This is completely different. It's not even the same thing. It's not even close. Not even close. I don't see how it's the same thing. Let me see. Oh, got my man Fern in here real quick. What's up, buddy? Hurd can play. It's just like Pettis. We'll see. I don't know. Mayoko is saying Hurd is on the team. Yeah, he's on the team. I thought that he would be, Andrew. I didn't really say that as well, too. People discredit Tart so much that he's underrated, taking him for granted. Yeah. Ward was drafted 14 and then 15. Yep. Okay. So there you go. Jimmy Ward is the longest tenured. Jaquaski Tart is the second longest tenured. Both were bulky picks, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know about that one. But yeah. Are we excited about D Ford? Yes. Yes. For everything that was said about him not being able to recover from the back injury, he looks incredible. And just get him right to week 1, man. He looks great. Yep, both bulky. See? Bulky didn't miss on everybody. Sal, let me get a shout out. Appreciate you, bro. Love watching you and on Grant's channel. Love your content. Appreciate you guys. So, yep. Let's see. What else? How many O-line we keeping? Good question. So, with Brendel out, Compton, I think, made it. So, then you got the starting 5, Compton. Sean Coleman's injured, Jalen Moore, and Aaron Banks is out for 1 to 2 weeks. So I don't know if he's right on the 53 or if he gets sent to the IR. It's a good question. We should check that out. And why is the list not out? Yeah, I don't know. Good Lord, Compton, Dylan. Dylan, you already know what I'm going to say, man. But yeah, absolutely. Opponents will find it hard to score more than 14 points per game against our D-line, better than 19. Yeah, I've said that many times. You're not going to reach the heights of 19 because Buckner, Armstead, Ford, and Bosa is too top-heavy. But as far as depth-wise, I don't think it's even close that this D-line is much deeper than it was in 19. Fresh legs all game. It's going to be hard to stop these guys. Chris Kosurik is a mad scientist, and while it was at camp, all he was doing was yelling and getting guys hyped, man. Find somebody who hypes you up like Chris Kosurik in the morning. So, yep. Can we talk about the energy that Zack brings to this team? Yep, I like him a lot, and he's slept on. He was literally one of the top 2 defensive linemen for the Carolina Panthers. So, yeah, it kind of went under the radar. I know that PFF isn't the Bible or anything that we should be really going off of, but he was rated very highly by them, 1 or 2 of the time. So, Lamar Jackson got cut. No, seriously, a cornerback from that's not the same Lamar Jackson. I would have rather kept Brendel over Compton. Me too. But I think that Kyle values what he thinks he knows about Compton. But yes, Brendel, I like him because he's a backup center. So Zach Kerr is a great player. Mayoko confirmed he made it. Yep, we knew that. The D-line would be amazing. I think so for sure. Absolutely. So, all right, 45 minutes. I think we're good here. I appreciate you guys for tapping in. We had almost 400 people in here. That's awesome. So once the list comes out, oh, man, don't get me started, man. Don't get me started. That's what got me all over this other stuff or whatever because, that the person that I would cut apparently, can't do any wrong. So, but thank you guys for tuning in. We'll do a full breakdown on Sprint Right Option Podcast, and we're going to talk about an entire list. I don't think that list is out yet right now. Just make sure you like this video, subscribe, and share with your friends. That would really help the channel out. Appreciate everybody tuning in. As always, let's go Niners. Appreciate you guys. All right. Welcome, everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte.